and then it's a long story. But anyway, carry on.
Okay.
Carry on.
And
Indeed.
I'm gonna watch you.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, hello there, everybody. I've really been enjoying the show. Very much enjoyed Joe's playing, and also Robert. I had a little jam along. So I guess I'll play something for you. And one of the things coming from Australia, but I started out as a blues fan before I was a player, and I didn't start playing until my mid to late 20s. And I just feel incredibly blessed that I've had a chance to meet some of my blues heroes and travel and tour a lot in the States. And so I think I should start off with a song which is the opening track from my album Voodoo and Shadows, which is called Call Their Name. And it's just my shout out to some of my mentors who've passed. And I feel their spirit when I play. And I feel very, let's have a Thanksgiving moment and call the blues in. Well, it's late at night, I'm walking the floor. I'm thinking about the people that have gone before. The blues is for the living, but all the same, the dead ain't gone if you call their name. The dead ain't gone if you call their name. Yeah, I see you with someone in my dreams sometimes. You're smoking and joking with a good old pine. Well, the big eye Smith is there. James coming too. They tell me what we all gotta do. We gotta call their name. We gotta call their name. Well, I wish I'd seen Memphis Minnie, but I heard her records play. In heaven, Dutch Tildes is Julie with Jessie May. What is the soul of a woman? What is the soul of a man? All I know is we're keeping the faith, people, just the best that we can. We're gonna call their name. We're gonna call their name. gotta make another dollar, you gotta make another day. but I feel spirits move every time I play. What is the soul of a woman? What is the soul of a man? All I know is we're keeping the faith, people, just the best that we can. We're gonna call their name. We're gonna call their name.
Yeah. Nice. Super nice.
Thank you. Well, the one name that you might not recognise in that particular song is a guy called Dutch Tilders, who I grew up in Melbourne, Australia. So Dutch was our local godfather of the blues. You know, he really was really super important. I started out playing acoustic country blues in coffee shops and things, and I was really influenced by Big Bill Broomsey and Mr. John Hurt, those kind of early country blues players. And I was listening to that stuff on records, but Dutch Tilders was the first person I saw playing that sort of material, his own songs, but also a lot of Big Bill Broomsey. Fabulous finger picker, very charismatic. He was a character. He could cut other musicians down, but he was always very supportive of me, and he really is considered in Melbourne, Australia, to be our, foundation player. He was good friends with Brownie McGee.
Oh, cool.
Actually.
Well, I know from that song, one of my heroes is Miss Jessie May.
Yeah. Yes. On recent trips to America on tours, I've had a chance to spend some time in Como, and I actually got a chance to play Jessie May's old guitar.
Oh, damn.
And at Sheldon's place and Cooper's place, and it's still quite playable, but it's got a bullet hole right through the top bout.
Oops.
Where, in later life, when she was, going through some hard times, she shot her guitar.
Sometimes that's necessary sometimes. Not for me. Well, I get to play a lot with Ariel Boyce, and he shares a lot of stories about Jessie, and actually they're super positive stories, which you never know what you're going to get. But he played drums with her for a long time.
Yes, I've heard some stories. I've heard some stories from Mr. Cooper about Jessie May, and of course he has a lot of memorabilia of stuff of hers on his property, and some of the stories are. Yeah, we might have to wait for more people to pass before we tell them.
Yeah, I know. I have a cartoon book I'm going to do about the stories, and maybe not.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get together because I've got a few beauties.
I saw that you have re-released. Was it? I think it's your first solo record. Is this true?
Yes. Yeah. Look, this is the re-release. This is she's holding it up now.
Damn it! There you go.
My very first solo album I recorded in 2000. It's called Blues in My Heart. And I just thought it would be really interesting to reflect on that time and the idea of doing a 20th anniversary re-release in 2020 sort of captured my imagination a couple of years ago, and I sort of started planning towards this. But as it turned out, the lockdown meant that I had time to really dig in, and so as well as remastering this album, which was originally recorded live to analog tape, I've really thought about what got me to that session in 2000, and then my journey since then. It really was the beginning. It was the just a few short years later, this sort of acoustic fingerpicking material led me to the IBC on my first ever trip to America. And I remember, sitting in the Pig on Beale Street, playing my competition set and thinking, isn't this amazing. It's my first visit to America, and this is a street where Memphis Minnie and so many of my blues heroes would have played back in the day, and I was just filled with the excitement and the link to the history of the music to be there. And of course, I ended up winning, which, as I said, I didn't really expect. I didn't expect anything apart from I was just thrilled to have the opportunity to be part of it and to be visiting Memphis and being part of it. But that really offered me the opportunity then to go back and play more in America and tour there. And that's been a big part of my musical life, and having a chance to meet some of my heroes in that time.
That's incredible. I was lucky enough to meet you at Reds in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And, I remember when we first started playing, you don't know until you can watch somebody and say, they're pretty good, but until you actually play with them and you're reacting and feel their groove, you don't really don't know what it is, And I will say you have one of those grooves that I connect with, I'm sure Dale would say the same from the corner, because it just felt right. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, I actually last year I had my birthday. I was at the Pinetop Perkins Foundation at the Shack Up Inn teaching guitar at the master classes there, and so it coincided with my birthday. So I got to play. It was my birthday. I played at Reds. It was very, very cool.
Right on. What you feel like playing now?
Well, I might save Party at Reds until I'm a little bit more awake, but actually I was thinking, having played something kind of swampy, I thought I'd sort of have a little nod back to the classic era of the blues, because one of the things I just have loved about, exploring the blues is all the different sort of styles. And so this is one of my own songs. It's on an acoustic album called Professing the Blues, but this one is for my husband, the preacher, who woke up one morning complaining of feeling old and stiff, and he was, and I just went, old and stiff? That line is great. It's perfect for a barrel house blues woman. So here's a song which is called "There Ain't Nothing Wrong with a Man Who's Old and Stiff." Well, you looking at that young man, he ain't much of much. He's shaking his thing at old Mrs. Such and Such. Now Grandpa might be creaky, but that's my tip. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. Well now, age and deceit will beat youth every time. For a man to get ahead, sometimes it take a little time. He may be slow getting round, but the mule's still got a kick. And wants more women, he knows how to use his stick. Old and stiff. Good God Almighty, I said old and stiff. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. Now his aches and pains will disappear. It won't cost you a dime. He may want a little rubbing. It's probably worth your time. I said, now hey, well now here's my tip. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. You're right, Grandpa. That's what I found. And like a fancy wine, it's best to lay him down. Dust the bottle, check the cork, maybe take a sip. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. I said, old and stiff. Good God Almighty, I said old and stiff. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. I said, old? That ain't no crime. And stiff? Honey, take what you can find. If he's got money for a cruise, he can take you on quite a trip. Nothing wrong with old and stiff. I said, hey women, that's my tip. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. it's probably wrong, but it feels so right.
I could read Joe's mind. Joe in his mind, that's dirty, but I like her.
Well, it's funny because people often think of blues as being very masculine music, but of course, in the classic era, all the stars were women, and often doing that kind of saucy, sassy,
Yeah.
double entendre stuff. And as a songwriter, it's a lot of fun to kind of mess around with some of those feels. You can just, people think of blues as being, miserable, sad music. But, there's so many different shades of blue, and I love them all.
Well, that was a cool song, and it made me laugh too. It's good to have.
Oh, yes. I've got a few. Of course, it's nice to be able to be happily married and have songs about your husband, because
Your husband's
like every
penis. Let's say it.
I have a lot of songs about my exes, of course. They gave me the blues, damn it.
Where'd you get this guitar from?
Now, this was the beginning of my recent little love affair with cigar boxes. Over the years, I had a friend who built this one, and he used to bring them to gigs, and they were, mostly made out of vintage cookie tins and broomsticks, and had 3 strings. And at that point, I didn't even play slide, and I was like, mate, I'm a guitarist. What am I going to do with that? But one day I was playing a gig in his little town, which is a place in Victoria called Yakandanda. Have 3 bourbons and say that quickly 3 times.
Damn it.
Yakandanda. So Shane's Soul in Yakandanda, and I was actually on tour with Watermelon Slim. We brought Slim out to Australia.
Pause. We're gonna pause right there. You had to tell us one small Slim story.
Well, there's so many Slim stories.
One little one, a tiny one.
All right. Well, I will say that Slim turned up in Australia with all his belongings, including the guitar, in a large duffel bag, like a seaman's duffel bag. And I think he just put the guitar in with the clothes round it. It hadn't occurred to him that it might be cooler than it was in Mississippi, so he didn't really have enough clothes. So we had to lend him some clothes, which he promptly burnt holes in, because he was smoking these roll-your-own cigarettes out of some incredible Mississippi pipe tobacco. And then the next thing we had to do was find a luthier in town to rebuild the guitar, because it had come apart in transit, because it wasn't actually in a guitar case. And he brought along a cheap Taiwanese, I don't know, it was something. And I said, Slim, why did you bring this guitar? And he said, I didn't want to bring my good one all the way over here. But look, he played fantastic shows, and we put together, we had a couple of major festivals, but in typical Watermelon Slim style, he said, I want to get out and meet the people. I want to see the country. So we put together some gigs that were in really interesting, funky country places, and some really interesting gigs. And one of them was in Yakandanda. And so I really am grateful to Slim, because he was playing dobro and harmonica. And I guess that gave me some ideas for starting to play lap style.
Uh-huh.
And I'll get to that in a bit. But this particular instrument was hanging on the wall. We were playing a gig at the Star Hotel in Yakandanda, and this was hanging on the wall, kind of almost like a decorative piece. And I went, that's the first cigar box I've seen that actually looks like a guitar. I think I could tackle that. So I got it down off the wall and played it. And so it was a wonderful moment that Slim was there, and I felt empowered to tackle cigar box guitar. And since then, I've actually written album surrounds this instrument in particular, box and dice. You can see it is a cigar box, and there's the dice. That's my nickname for this instrument. And also the cigar box collection is growing exponentially.
Yeah, we saw that.
During my musical career.
What do you feel like playing?
Well, at one point, the preacher and I had lived in a lot of different places. You know, the statistics have gone up, but at one point we lived in 10 houses in 8 years in 2 different countries. So I got to be very good at being a stranger in town in a lot of different places. I'm just trying to make my way here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get along. Well, now tell me, people, you have been a stranger too. You've been a stranger in a strange town. I said, hey, now, you have been a stranger too. If they drive from your door, would you know just what to do? Because some of the people, well, they can't give a stranger ease. I said, now some of the people, they can't give a stranger ease. They don't care about nobody, and they do just like they please. 'cause I'm just looking for my true home. Lord, and I'm rambling everywhere. Well, I'm a stranger here. I ain't been in your town too long. Well, I'm a stranger here. I ain't been in your town too long. I'm just trying to make my way here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get along. Well, I'm just trying to make my way here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get along.
Yeah, nice one. That guitar's got some growl to it.
It's quite amazing, isn't it? I just like the idea of an instrument with the health warning on the front. I just have to dig a little here because I had this little foot tambourine that's just sliding all over. Just slid off there. That's all right. Slight malfunction there. So yeah, this was the beginning of my cigar box thing, and I experimented with all different ways. I played it lap style for a while. I've played it in different tunings, but then, just as I was recording an album with this, a week before the session, Shane Soul from Yak and Dander, the same guy, turned up at a gig with this.
Damn.
And this is made out of a very large cigar box. And he had a theory about how to tune it, so he helpfully wrote that on the back in Sharpie. And as it's based on this fake number tag is an FB Holden, which was an Australian, it was a GM car that was built in Australia. So it says FB, which is my initials, Australian Classic. And I just thought that was hilarious, good for overseas gigs. So this one it's got such high action. The neck is made out of an old fence post, so you really just have to commit to playing it lap style. And this does owe a debt to Watermelon Slim, because Slim told me that you should, play it Mississippi style so I've got a little. Oops, I got a little whiskey bottle there. It's probably too early in the day.
No, it's never too
early. And he said, play with something that's got a bit of mojo. So this little bottle is actually a souvenir. It's a Linny Aquavit bottle, and I got that when I was playing the Notodden Blues Festival in Norway.
So, Fiona, you said it's too early to drink. What time is it there?
Well, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so maybe not. We'll see how I go after this song.
So it's Friday, like it's Thursday night here at 9 o'clock, and it's Friday there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
Wow.
Australia is the land of tomorrow.
There we go.
Yeah, this one is. Sounds like that. And so I thought I might play another song for the preacher, actually. If you don't know the story, although I play the devil's music, I am married to an Episcopalian priest. And he's not like your regular preacher, really. I explain to people he's not sweet. He's more like a preacher in a Clint Eastwood movie. But most of the time, most of our married life, he's been an academic or he's worked with me in the music industry or worked in social justice areas. But at one point, he did have a church gig. And the only problem with that is that you live at the job, so they can find you, or it's just next door. So here's a song called When the Devil You Know is Living Right Next Door. Goes. When the devil you know's living right next door. When the devil you know's living right next door. When the left hand hide from the right one, nobody's paying the bills. Good people running scared and angels are heading for the hills. Everybody wanna know what's going on behind your door. Even God's getting mighty tired just from keeping score. Ain't nobody's business which way the ill wind blows. Got people accusing you before you even say hello. Where they hang from the windows, peeping through the cracks. Once you get your big note out of my business, don't ever bring it back. When the devil you know, living right next door. When the devil you know is living right next door. Hiding in your shotgun shack, living underground. You may be making money and they call you mister. It ain't worth what's going down. Cause they hang from the windows, peeking through the cracks. Would you get your big note out my business? Don't ever bring it back. When the devil you know, living right next door. When the devil you know is living right next door. Living right next door. When the devil you know's living right next door. When the devil you know's living right next door.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, it's so I do certainly have Slim to thank for tackling some lap style stuff. And you'll notice here that there was a 6-string, then a 4-string, but the latest one is a more traditional 3-stringer. And this is actually made by a guy in another Australian town called Ballarat. And this is called the Salty Dog. It's made by Steve Plater, also known as Salty Dog. So you can see there's a pattern emerging. The preacher's just built me a diddly bow. And I'm slowly moving to, from 1 string, there's only no strings. There's only air cigar box after that.
The first one you said you found on the wall.
Yeah.
You never mentioned if you paid for it, just took that shit.
No. I knew who had built it, so I went up. Shane has a little store in Yakandanda, and so I went up the next day and paid him for it, and said I'll have it. And he's become a great supporter. It's funny because if you ever come to Australia and you get a chance to visit, it's a very small regional town. It used to be a gold mining town, so it's historic and small. And Shane's store is like a tiny shotgun. It's a tiny space crammed full of stuff and his various builds, and it's called, the official name is the Oz Blues and Roots Music Store and Cigar Box Emporium.
Nice.
Which actually means that the name of the shop is bigger than the shop itself.
And let's make a promise to each other right now. I'll get you to South America, and you get me to Australia.
I would love that. I would absolutely love to have the opportunity to play in South America. I've done some online stuff and been in contact. And I know I'm getting played in Brazil and a little bit in Argentina. So it would be such an exciting. I would love to take also, if I had a chance, to take my drummer Mark Grundon, who features on my recent albums, the electric albums, because my regular drummer is a great blues drummer, but he's also a hand percussionist, and he runs a samba school and plays in a batucada band on the side. And I just, which is why some of my albums, like Box and Dice, which is around cigar boxes, or the latest album, electric album, which is Voodoo in the Shadows, you know, in the studio, I'll just say to him, I hear this in my head, and sometimes he'll just suddenly put together, he has a suitcase full of stuff. So his drum track might actually consist of, congas with one hand and maybe a lump of chains with a horseshoe or something dropped onto a washboard. He comes up with a whole lot of sort of do-it-yourself percussion ideas, which is wonderful textures on an album. You know, it's great.
Very cool. Well, Carlos and I'll get you there.
I love that. Yeah. So this little gnarly little beast. And you've called out Jessie May, so this is, I guess, not really played in the Jessie May style, but it is certainly inspired by her. And my visits to Como, Mississippi, and playing her guitar, just because it's got a bit of attitude. It's a song called Tell Your Story Walking. story walking. Yeah, tell your story walking. We're well on your way. I said, tell your story walking. Bet you're well on your way. Think you remain straight up, no matter what you say. Think you remain straight up, no matter what you say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How many guitars you carrying out when you play?
Oh, well, look, often when I'm touring, I'm lucky that the electric guitar that I play, the Mate and Master sound, is actually rigid enough to do the finger picking on. So if I have to just take one instrument, I'd take that electric guitar, and then usually I take one cigar box, depending on, actually quite often I'll just take the 4-stringer or something like that, because I can, at a pinch, tune that electric into an open G and do some of the cigar box stuff on that I normally play on the cigar box. But then if I can drive and I have free rein, then I would take 3 cigar boxes, the electric, and I have a very rare, beautiful National Res Electric baritone, which is one of only 2 in existence. The other one is in the factory in California at the National Guitar Factory, and it was a custom build. And my husband bought it on spec. We'd been touring in America, and I had to go on to Europe, and I left him unattended in America for a week, and he came. It's great. He came home with this instrument. A lot of musicians I know have to, if they buy a new guitar, they have to smuggle it into the house under cover of darkness.
Yeah.
But I'm so blessed because my husband has often bought me instruments and gone, I don't know what it is, but maybe you'd like to, see what this does. And he bought me this baritone. It was much cheaper than it should have been, and obviously the guy who had it custom built hadn't bonded with it and just sold it on. When I got it home to Australia, I discovered that the neck was huge. The neck was heroically huge, and I couldn't get my hands around it. So I took the guitar apart and sent the neck back to the National Factory to have it reshaped. And I suspect that it was built to those specifications, but I suspect that's why the original owner sold it, because it was pretty unplayable. But it's an incredible instrument.
Do you have it there?
Yes, I was going to say, do you want me to take it? I just unplug this one. I just have to get it out of my...
Take your time.
I've sort of made a nest around me. Let's see where it is. And it's just coming into summer here, and so where I live is sort of semi-tropical, so we're just getting to the, I'm mopping myself like I'm in Mississippi. I'm down there.
That's really different to see someone that is warm.
Oh yeah, it's definitely warm.
Wow.
So this is I don't know if it can be a bit fractious to tune, because it has the aspect of being both electric, but it has the
resonator
in it as well.
Woo.
Just adjust that and adjust this. there, they didn't have any record of it. One rule for you, one rule for me. But I've been checking it out as far as I can see. You think there's one rule for you, another one for me. Well, I just wanna know what is going down, 'cause what goes around don't seem to come around. At least that's what I found. And you say, do unto others, turn the other cheek. Well, it sure seems like you don't agree to practice what you preach. Where you said you'd never stand people talking behind your back, but now the grapevine's working overtime. No need to spoil the story with the facts. And now, meanwhile, you're sitting pretty in your mansion on the hill. Well, it makes me sad you don't get it, and I guess that you never will. But there's nothing that I value you can take, and there's nothing you got that I need. It don't matter, I know it really matters. I wish you good luck and Godspeed with your one rule for you, one rule for me. But there's nothing that I value you can take. There's nothing you got that I need. It don't matter, I know what really matters. I wish you good luck and Godspeed with your one rule for you, one rule for me. I've been checking it out as far as I can see. Think there's one rule for you, another one for me. Meanwhile, you're sitting pretty in your mansion on the hill. Well, it makes me sad you don't get it, and I guess that you never will. One rule for you, one rule for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, your husband did a great job picking out a guitar for you. Man.
So yes, if I had, thank you, Bobby. If I had a choice, I would bring this one as well. So it's funny because it's got such beautiful tones that it's a shame to capo it. But of course, you can play it. It has the same intervals as a regular guitar, but it's tuned down halfway between a guitar and a bass.
Yeah.
And so I've had to, the songs you know how to play, you can play them, but they're too low to sing then.
Right.
So I've been having to build a repertoire around this particular instrument, and it features on several of my latest albums. Yeah.
What's the pickup? Is that a P90 in there? What is that?
It's got both the P90, but it's also got the in there it's got a piezo underneath the biscuit, so it has actually the cone is under there as well. So it has a very particular sound. I have got a Res Electric guitar version of this also, which is an interesting guitar as well. But this one is just a very special, unique instrument, and I love it. Yeah,
it's the Fiona series.
yeah.
It kind of is, right?
Well, yeah, and it's funny because it was apparently they're quite tricky to, or they're maybe not tricky, but for when I had a chance to take it, go and visit the national factory and talk about it, and they went, oh yeah, but don't encourage people to want to buy these though because they're expensive. We make them expensive because they're kind of a nuisance to make. They're kind of tricky, and they have in recent years, touch wood, they've been doing well enough that they're quite busy just trying to keep up with the orders of their regular models. Of course, while I was there, having a visit and discussing this particular instrument with them, and thanking them for reshaping the neck and making it playable for me. At that stage, I was on my way to San Francisco to record an audiophile acoustic blues album for Reference Recordings. And so, yes, I went in to say hello and I came out with a National Style O acoustic resonator. Oops. Which is, I have some beautiful acoustic instruments of mine as well in my collection.
Nice.
That thing sounds incredible.
Mm.
And I wouldn't have turned it down either. I would have left it turned up.
That's good. Now, I'm going to put my glasses back on so I can see. Ah, there you are. Yes, when they tell a guitarist to turn up, that's a good and rare thing.
Man, it was so beautiful to hear you, and so nice to see your face again. I haven't seen it for a long time, and it feels like a long time.
Yeah, I was
lockdown.
Yeah, thank you. Love to see your face too, Bobby, and I just hope that all my blues friends all over the states are staying safe and well, and I hope that Red and all my friends in Clarksdale are okay. Yep. I did we're probably well and truly run out of time, but I did write a song which is on my latest electric album, which is called Party at Red's, which is my tribute to Red's Lounge.
Listen, we're not going to stop you from playing. If you have a song, play the damn thing.
I'll play. Anyway, yeah, all right. I'll play one last song for you.
There we go.
Oh, good.
Now,
our friend Heather Cross says hello, by the way.
I can be rude with the cigar boxes and just throw them on the carpet, but
yeah,
this one must be lovingly placed into a stand. Okay, we'll see how awake we are and how we can play this. It's a song about Mississippi, even though it's not really in the Mississippi style. But I wrote this song, and before I recorded it, I sent a demo to Roger Stolley at Cathead, and because I wanted Red to hear it, and I didn't hear anything back, and I ended up going ahead and recording it and putting it on the album anyway. And the next shortly after, just a couple of months later, I was back in Clarksdale, and I went to Red's because it was really important to me to be respectful of his place and his person, and I didn't want to feel like I would hate for him to have felt appropriated by the fact that I'd written a song about his club. So, I went up and I very politely said, "Mr. Payden, sir, I wrote a song about the club, and with a couple of your signature catchphrases are in the lyrics, and I really hope that you would be happy about that." And he went, "Well, get up and play it." And I went, "What?" And Mule Man Massey was playing, and he said, "Just get up and play it right now. Mule Man won't mind. He won't mind." And I'm thinking, well, I hope he doesn't mind. Anyway, And I was just completely on tenterhooks playing this song. But anyway, here's what I played. Well, it's back by the river, it's fronted by the grave. You wanna get a little sin, you wanna get a little saved. You get a feeling now, down in your bones. You wanna get a little something you can't get at home. Now take it easy, baby, don't get yourself a no jinx. You put your money in the tip jar, you get yourself a drink. You can't get cold whiskey, or maybe you can get gin. But some people said you sold your soul just to walk in. But life is short, and you a long time dead. You better have your fun, you better use your head. You got friends down south that you ain't met yet. That's why I wanna go down the clocks, they wanna party at Reds. I wanna party at Reds now. Send it out to you, Red. Now there's storm clouds gathering, and it looks like rain. Oh well, I thought I heard a whistle of an old freight train. You get a feeling now, do what you wanna do. Oh well, I wanna hear some down home blues. Life is short, and you a long time dead. You better have your fun, you better use your head. You got friends down south that you ain't met yet. That's why I wanna go down in the Delta, wanna party at Reds. Oh man, you're missing out if you ain't been down there yet. That's why I wanna go down the clocks, they wanna party at Reds. I wanna party at Reds now.
Yeah, party at Reds.
It's party at Reds. It's been a while between drinks since I played that song actually, but because I have been gigging. But the wonderful thing was I played the song for Red, and in a very Red way, he just sat there going and giving nothing away, just And then at the end, he motioned me over, and then he got out his own stash of moonshine and gave me a swig, and said, "Yeah, that's good."
That's like winning a Grammy. That's a Reds
Yeah, so
Grammy.
that's a blessing.
Yeah, you should put that in your awards.
I truly consider that and the fact that you know, he gave me a gig for my birthday party there, and actually here in my here in my music room, because I'm surrounded by it's a very small space, and I keep having to repurpose it depending on sort of what's going on in the online world. But yeah, at the end of the gig, he actually called me over and he gave me one of his T-shirts
Oh,
and he signed it.
wow.
So that was for my birthday in June last year. So that hangs up in pride of place in my music room as a little bit of Clarksdale.
You know what that
Here
means,
in
right?
yeah, that
It means,
it means the world to me.
it
You
means you're
know,
married. It means you and Red are married.
well, that is pretty darn cool, you know, because people like Red, and you know, I had a chance to play with Robert Wolfman Belfour,
Mhm.
and you know, these people links to the whole music. And as I said, I was a fan before. You know, I was a blues lover for years before I actually attempted to become a player myself. And you know, it's I think really important to remember the roots of the music and to acknowledge the elder statesmen and women of the music and the traditions of it. And I think perhaps for some Americans, it's hard to grasp how something that's started out as a uniquely American musical form has become so universal and global and loved universally too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that the people who love it in this country are also confused by why it's not more respected by the people in this country.
Mm,
You know, it's very
yeah, there's a
seldom
lot of
you, yeah, you don't really hear it come blasting out of cars. That's
mm,
why when I go, like, that's what I love about South America. You go to South America, you get in a taxi, and they're playing traditional music. You know, they have a really
mm,
a really strong appreciation for what their thing. You know, in this country, there are definitely enough people that love the blues to keep it alive. There's these festivals, but the majority of people don't have a clue about it. Even people in Clarksdale. I
mm.
remember when Big Jack passed, they did it. They had they put a blues marker up for him, and the mayor of the town came and he admitted that he didn't know anything about the blues until like, you know, like 10 years before that, and he was like 60, and he's
Yeah,
from
wow,
Clarksdale. Yeah, it's a strange thing.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've struck that, you know, myself. The first time in 2003 when I came to America to compete at the IBC, one of the things I wanted to do, I didn't have a lot of time, but of course I wanted to go to Clarksdale. And I wanted to find Memphis Minnie's grave. And in 2003, that was before some of these great guidebooks were available. So apart from knowing, it's up on my bookshelf of music books here, is the only existing biography of Memphis Minnie. I certainly think, you know, historically she was a very interesting guitarist in her own right, and it's actually sad that there's not more scholarship around some of the women. But there's one existing book, Woman with Guitar, by the Garans, and I knew from reading that she was buried in Walls, Mississippi. But beyond that, I had no idea, and I went searching, and I asked several people. Um, I guess I was very naive. I had no idea because I just thought it would work like it does in Australia. You drive into a town and there would be, you know, a cemetery, or you know, I didn't really realise that a lot of people are scattered, buried in little churchyards out of town, as indeed is Memphis Minnie. But you know, I asked several people, you know, the sheriff, different people that looked like they were important people around town, and nobody had any idea of what I was talking about. And I literally drove across the other side of the tracks and asked a very gracious black gentleman who was sitting on his front porch, and he knew exactly where she was, and directed me
Yeah.
to to her grave, which was a very moving experience for me, and really one of the first things I did on my first blues pilgrimage to the States.
You know, when I first went there, my friend Dale Wise told me, he's like, you know what? It's going to be incredible because you're going to have a lot of great blues friends, but you're also going to lose a lot of great friends. And that's how it has been. Like, you know, Big Jack was one of my heroes there, and you got to play with them for a long time. And the funny thing is, your song about Reds, Big Jack had a song called "Going Down to Big Reds," and it was the first time I went down. I can't remember, 2005. I can't remember exactly when. And I was so like, look, he's going to be so happy to see me because I produced his record. I have the record. It looks incredible. It sounds great. He's going to be amazed. And it was going to be the first time I played with him, and it was going to be at Reds. And there's no bass player, just Dale, myself, and him. Yeah. So I was super excited. So about an hour before that, he had asked me, I thought he said, does anyone have this? And I said, no, of course, you get the first copy. And earlier in the day, Red took us to lunch, and we played the song for him because we wanted him to hear Jack had wrote a song about him. So anyways, Red's got a whole cooker full of meat, a giant cooker full. So that's all he cares about. And it's about like maybe 15 minutes before we're going to play, and Red's coming out of the bathroom, and Jack sees him. He says, hey, sit down. I want you to hear the song I wrote for you. And Red goes, oh, I heard it, and just kept walking. and Jack started stewing, and I'm like, oh, and Hannah was with us. Hannah's paying attention right now. She knows this. This is the first time she threw me under the bus, not the last. She just did the Mississippi ease on out because she knew it was coming. And Big Jack came up to me, and he said, he was mad as hell, and he said, if your woman buys you underpants, do you want another man to wear them first? And then we had to go on stage and play. And I remember closing my eyes thinking, like, I just drove 17 hours thinking I was going to be the king, and now I'm the jester. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, what, you're here though, you know, you have to play. And thank God it went well, because that was a hell of a test. It's like, you know, my mind was like racing. But that's Reds, and that's Red. Yeah, I heard it. Not thank you, not I like it, nothing.
Yeah. No, it was just past the moonshine bottle, and that was okay by me. That was good, because I said, you know,
that's
you
incredible.
Can't get whiskey, maybe you can get gin, you know, bootleg liquor and unmarked in brand name bottles. That's the what might happen, you know.